Good evening, Planet Guam. Today I have with me Mo. Hello, Mo.
Good evening, Planet Guam.
Mo, so where are you from?
I'm from New York City, the borough of Queens, in the neighborhood of Queensbridge.
Wow, New York City. That's like thousands of miles from here.
It's like the opposite side of the universe as far as planet Earth.
Yes. So what brought you to Guam?
A very supportive figure. Me growing up, without family as an orphan and a homeless runaway, was my maternal grandmother, my mother's mother, who would always answer my collect calls, and this was like 5 out of 7 days a week when I was growing up because I didn't have any guidance. So I would call her collect, and she would always answer the phone even at $40 a minute in off times in Guam or Hong Kong or the other side of the planet, and she would pay that price every time I called just to, show me that I was loved and that I had support out there, at least, advice.
Oh, so when you were going through troubles as a kid, your grandma was always there to receive your call.
Yeah, and Guam was her favorite place, and it became a place of curiosity for me because she talked about it constantly, and it was her most favorite and loved home she ever had on the whole world. She loved Guam, and she always encouraged me that if I ever had the chance to promise her I would come to Guam.
And so today you're fulfilling that promise.
Yeah, 5 years ago roughly 5 years ago, I came to Guam because, I had finally had the chance to keep that promise, even though she's been passed away for roughly 30 years at that point by the time I showed up here.
And how long did your grandmother stay in Guam?
She lived here for 47 years, and my mother and her brother were both born here on the island.
Oh, so your mother was born here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's Guamanian and local, but she ethnically is from a Norwegian family.
So you do have some roots and ties to Guam.
Yes,
Okay.
as a second generation returnee, so to speak.
Okay. And I was also wondering, what race are you?
I'm mixed. I'm half Latin American. My father's side is Latino, a mix of Puerto Rican and Mexican cultures. And ethnically, on my mother's side, they are, first generation Norwegian Americans.
Okay, so it's like the Vikings and the Mexican mafia together.
Sort of, in an awkward way, yeah.
Okay, because I do know in the East Coast, in the Bronx or New York, they have a lot of Puerto Ricans back there.
Yeah, there's actually a big Latino and Brazilian and Cape Verdean culture, so many Portuguese and Spanish-speaking Latin Americans from South America, Central America, and the Caribbean islands.
Okay, were you homeless like in New York?
Yes, I was a very stubborn child, and I didn't enjoy the Catholic orphanage too much because when I was growing up, they would cane you for everything you did wrong, and I did a lot of things wrong. Without parental guidance, it's hard to know what's culturally acceptable growing up, and the things that I naturally felt were appropriate or inappropriate didn't always coincide with the orphanage and their rules. So
could you
I
tell
kept
us,
running away.
Is there like a big difference between the homeless on Guam and in New York?
Oh yes, the street culture and homeless culture of New York City is very vast, and there are factions that are, very urban and street culture based, basically affiliated with like street gangs and minorities. The neighborhood I grew up in was primarily Caribbeans, everyone from Jamaican to Haitian to African American, and a lot of Puerto Ricans and Dominicans as well.
So there's a lot of mix.
Yeah, I actually grew up speaking Spanish because, my friends and everything, who were also, many of them mixed as well, because you sort of like the odd ones out that were a little darker or a little lighter or didn't fit in because they didn't have families or whatever. We sort of banded together, and a little bad kid squad.
So would you say it's easier for the homeless on Guam or in New York?
You know, I think that's a matter of perspective. Trauma is a matter of perspective.
Okay.
No one's trauma is greater or lesser than someone else's. Once you have experienced trauma in your life, you know, it affects you a certain way, and there's no scale to that. It's all how someone handles the stresses that come into their life.
What about like the benefits and the housing and stuff?
You know, at least personally speaking, I can say that all of the things that happened to me that were traumatic were actually a piece of armor that I needed for later in life. So I have no regrets, and I'm grateful for every good and bad thing that's happened to me, because it happened at a pivotal moment that provided me with a resource that I've been able to use as an autistic person and a sort of awkward person, you know, on the outskirts of my own culture, growing up, being, you know, affiliating and associating with Latino culture, but being mixed and looking like a little blonde, you know, half Norwegian kid with white hair down to my ankles. You know, it was hard for me to, you know, fit into that culture, even though I could speak better Spanish than most of the kids in New York.
So me and Mo, we did talk earlier, and he told me that somebody gave him a break, and he gave him a job, and he held the job down. And this job, what was the name of the job?
I was actually a subcontracting consultant for Eurogroup in matters of security and building construction for them.
And you would be traveling around the world, right?
Yeah, I've been to 87 countries in my life as a consultant contractor, and you know, it's afforded me a lifestyle of both prosperity and global perspective, which I'm grateful for.
And then, according to Mo, just to shorten up this interview, he told me that when COVID-19 hit, he got laid off.
Yeah, when COVID-19 hit, I was actually very close to Wuhan, which was the epicenter supposedly of the global pandemic in China. I was in Xiamen, China, which is not very far from the epicenter. And my company that I was subcontracting for, and which I worked for a very long time as a consultant, moved me to Seoul, Korea. And you know, when the pandemic sort of spread and became more dangerous globally, I chose to take a layoff and a cheap flight to Saipan, which actually globally put me near Guam and allowed me to keep a promise to my grandmother to come and see it if I ever got the chance. So
you saw the chance and you took it?
Yeah, and I took it. It was another very close and inexpensive flight here.
You ended up in Guam, and since then you haven't been employed?
No, because when I first got here, I had quite a bit of resources, which, due to my inability to manage my own finances and the passing away of my accountant recently, I have frivolously spent my resources in a charitable nature, to the best of my ability, into poverty, basically.
And folks, I know some of you, this is going to come up in the questions, and a lot of you have questions. So I did take the liberty of talking to Mo earlier. He's not proud of it, but he does suffer from autism, and nobody has given him the same break that he's had in the past to hold down the job. So right now, if he does get that break, if somebody does hire him, he's willing to take the job, but right now he doesn't have too many options out there. No, he is a little disabled, so no, he's not proud of it, like I said, but I just wanted to get that out there before you guys start, you know, passing harsh judgment on him. So Mo, it's hard to get a job for you in Guam, right?
Yeah, and because of my basic processing ability, you know, I have lost all of my material possessions, you know, so I don't actually have a proper form of identification, which has made it very difficult for me to get any resources. So I'm living here without benefit, thanks to the charity and friendship of people I've made. I have wandering feet, so I have made friends in the north and central and in the south of Guam because I've lived in all of those locations extensively over 5 years, because whenever I sort of get the urge, I wander around, you know,
Okay.
and I try to treat people with respect and maintain a certain amount of integrity in myself, and my word is important to me.
Yes,
So I do my best to keep it.
I do see that in them.
And to be good to others, because I've seen what bad can do in this world, and some people don't really know the bottom. You know, there's really horrible things in this world that seem like you're in the depths of hell. Monstrous things.
So are you getting like any kind of government assistance at welfare and food stamp?
Actually, for a brief amount of time, until my accountant passed away, I was receiving SSI, but on Guam, you know, once you've lived here past 30 days, your SSI is stopped. So for most of the time I've been here, it's just been off of the resources that might save money, and my accountant was helping me make money with it, you know, due to her investing on my behalf and everything. That's why I hired her. She's very savvy.
So now that your accountant has passed away and you're not getting any SSI, so now you're relying on charity?
Really, I basically have been panhandling and helping others, you know, with their own personal lives, you know, as far as moving or as far as like any work or needs that they have, like painting, or they want a mural or something like that. You know, I've worked in many creative fields, such as carpentry, culinary arts. I've been a graphic artist and a designer of clothing and of you know, sort of painting and posters and logos and things like this. And also I've been a musician and successful in most of those fields to some degree or another.
Okay. So your grandmother passed away, and your mother and your family is not on Guam. So
I didn't meet my maternal mother until I was 42. I'm now 50.
But your mother was born in Guam?
She was born here, but she actually birthed me when she was visiting the northeast of the United States. And I was, you know, it was an unknown pregnancy because she was a bigger girl. You know, being Norwegian, she was a very big lady and very strong. And so she didn't even know she was pregnant and gave birth to me prematurely by 4 months. I only weighed like 15 ounces, and she was deemed, you know, unable to and unfit as a parent, and didn't really want the responsibility because she was still young, you know.
Okay, yeah, she was young. She wasn't ready.
So I was given over to the hospital, which gave me over into the Catholic orphanage. You know?
Oh, so you grew up in an orphanage? Oh.
Yeah, until, you know, I just became too fleet-footed. You know, my feet have some wanderlust, you know, just like I've traveled over the globe. You know, anytime I'm in a state of, you know, anchorage, somehow the wind forces me to get like the lust to move away from that. You know, I don't know why that is. It's just, maybe it's part of who I am.
Okay, so I heard you like to wander around and you don't have like a permanent place where you stay. But for now, if people were to donate things, what could you use?
You know, right now I'm currently in the Santa Barbara and Machechi areas of Dedido, and, you know, very close to Marine Corps, you know, between the old flea market and, you know, Wysing Song for the most part.
So you're gonna be in this area for like, how long do you think, maybe?
You know, maybe several months, and, you know, maybe
at
only
least
a
a month?
couple. More than a month, I'm sure.
Okay, so folks, this is where you can find Mo. Right out here is Marine Drive. And right there's a Shell gas station next to the Payless in Dedido. This is the Payless Dedido. Right here is the skate park. Across the street is the skate park. And right here, Santa Barbara Church up here, the school, Santa Barbara School. The church is up here. This is the old police station. And in one of these pavilions, in either this one and that one over there,
Yeah, the one across the street.
Or-
I
or-
often sleep in here.
or the pavilion across the street is where you can find Mo. For the most part, this is the area where you'll be at.
Yeah, when I can't find, a couch of a friend to surf on, or I don't want to overstay my welcome, I just sleep out here.
Yeah, because Mo did tell me that he had some friends that are farmers that would give him a place to stay for maybe like a night or two, but he doesn't want to stay too long because he doesn't want to wear his welcome out. So he pretty much stays out here. He tells me that he sleeps on this bench right here,
Yeah,
or sometimes over here on the grass.
yeah,
He just lays down his cardboard or whatever, and he crashes out through the night. And he comes under here when it's raining.
yeah.
So if you guys would like to donate anything and would like to help out Mo, this is where you can find him, here and one of the pavilions. Just come to the doggy park across the street, or come by the skate park and look at the pavilions and you'll find Mo. This is Mo right here. So Mo, what could you use right now? Do you like clothes?
Yeah, the clothes I have on is actually the only set of clothing I currently own.
Oh wow.
And I only have this pair of Zoris, which someone gave me recently because the last ones I wore through them. I don't have any shoes or boots or pants. I could really use anything.
Okay.
And, if anyone has an acoustic guitar, that's sort of like very therapeutic for me, or any art supplies like paints or markers or wood or canvas or anything as a medium for me to apply those things to, I would happily make them a picture. And I'm a decent artist, also a tattooist, and a fine musician. I'd be happy to play them a song, whatever they would like.
I did ask Mo about the tattoo under his eye, and he told me that it was a female, right? It was
This tattoo Spice was a very close friend growing up.
Okay.
And a female I sort of had feelings for as a young man in New York City, and she passed away due to heroin addiction.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm also an addict in recovery. I am 12 years clean off of opiates and opioids. Roughly 24 years clean off of alcohol. And I have suffered also from stimulant addiction. I currently only suffer from nicotine addiction and caffeine addiction, but I am an addict in recovery, and it's one day at a time, and I'm grateful for every day I have clean off any of those substances.
Yes, please, brother, please stay clean.
And I don't really even see my current set of circumstances as a deterrent. I've been lower than this in my life, and come up from it before. So I have faith that through my own abilities and through help from others and my good nature and others' good nature, that I will find a way to persevere yet again.
Yes. Mo, I'm going to be seeing you around. I'll do a follow-up. But right now, I can help you a little bit, and it's not going to be much. But I would like to ask the community of Deredo just to open your hearts out if you can help out Mo. Just even a cot will do. It's better than this hard concrete bench. Some clothes, some anything, hygienes that will help him out, some bottled waters, some minutes too, because surprisingly, Mo does have a phone because like he said, he doesn't use drugs. So the money he gets,
nicotine and caffeine are really drugs, but
and usually people that does drugs, they usually, I'm not saying all, I'm not generalizing it, but a lot of them don't have phones.
I did save up the contributions of local Guamanians all over the island, for a couple of weeks to get a phone.
And what kind of phones minute do you have?
I currently have ITNE as a prepaid provider.
Okay, so if you guys would like to get him instead of giving him money, if you feel that you don't feel comfortable giving him money, you can use a ITNE prepaid card.
That's true.
helps ease a lot of the stress being out here, being homeless. And I just ask you guys to just open your hearts out. Do what you can. I know there's things like I used to have a lot of things laying around my house. Now I hardly have anything, but I remember at one point I did. And so I know that a lot of you out there, you do have things that are laying around the house that you guys are not using. It was really touching, the story that he told me about his grandmother. He told me as a young kid he would always get into trouble. He would be a troubled kid. And every time he wanted to feel comfort, he would call up his grandmother. And his grandmother would always be there to accept his call and will get him through the pain and whatever troubles he was going through. And so, he made it a promise that he was going to come to Guam to visit the place that his grandmother, loved so much that she stayed here for 47 years. And what brought his grandmother here was her husband was a step-husband. A second husband.
Yeah.
He was a civil engineer or civil.
He was a civil servant and a veteran of the World War II in Europe and in the Pacific, and became a chemist for the government due to his military money being spent as a army officer. He was a major in the army.
And so when they came to Guam, they loved it so much that they decided to stay.
Yep.
And this is how Mo heard about Guam through his troubled years as an orphan.
Yeah, it was like a magical place. I could only, imagine from her talking on the phone to me about it. I only actually met my grandmother 3 times in my life.
And she never declined your phone call?
Never. 5 days a week through all of my childhood, from early childhood, until the time I joined the army myself.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow! So.
And she helped me raise my first kid. When you don't have parents to guide you and you've never had experience raising a child, I raised my first son by myself as a teenager, because his mother, who is the one I have the tattoo on my face for, she OD'd on heroin. She was a troubled girl. And so I raised my son, with me.
So folks, I'm gonna give Mo a YouTube advance, and I will see him after this video has been up for a week, and I will give him the difference of what that video makes. So please hit the like button, comment, say hi to Mo. You've been to New York. If you've been to New York before, give him, holler at him, say what's up, Mo, and I'll relay the message to him. But he does have a phone, so I know he's gonna get some minutes after he gets his YouTube advance. Folks, look, this is not charity that I'm doing for him. He's actually earning this money because YouTube's paying him, not me. I'm just helping him make the money from YouTube. So Mo, it was nice to meet you.
It was a pleasure to meet you as well.
See you around again, and I hope you do get some donations. But I will do what I can to get what you need. What kind of what size is your feet?
11.
Wow,
11.
Another 11. A lot of people are 11. And your shirt is like large?
Large, yeah.
And your waist?
33.
So folks, his pants, his waist, his shorts, whatever, it's 33. And you can fit a 34, right?
Sure, or a 32, depending on the make.
So he can fit a 32 to 34, and his shirt is generally large. His shoes is size 11, a very common size amongst the people that I do interview with. So folks, if you can help out, that would be much appreciated. This is Planet Guam.
I would like to thank all of the Chamorro culture, local Guamanians and transplant Guamanians for allowing me to be on this lovely island and magical place that my grandmother talked about. And I'd like to thank Planet Guam. I love it here.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mo. Until next time, this is Planet Guam signing out.